Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today we're going to talk about The Green Rider. This book starts out like so many of our fantasy books have in the past. We start out with a girl who has been kicked out of school. Maybe that's not how fantasy books start, but our main character is a girl. She has been kicked out of her school and she is on her way home. Instead of waiting for an actual driver, I don't know why I said driver, but an actual carriage or whatever to be sent from her house so that her father could bring her home, she just left. She's like, well, you've kicked me out of school. I'm just walking home and I'm done. She runs into someone who has been shot by arrows, and he sends her with a very important message that he gives her to pass on to the king. And that begins our story. Isn't that the best hook to get you involved in the story? So let's go back and talk about Kristen Britton, who wrote this story. As far as her bio says, she grew up in New York, but now she lives in Maine, and she likes to spend her time outside, surrounded by the woods and the mountains, and just sitting and daydreaming and apparently writing. So this is the first book that I have ever read by her. It says when she was 13 years old, she published her first book, which was a cartoon collection of horses and horse people. She also used to work as a park ranger. I think that is very cool. She got to work in a ton of places, and maybe that helps with her settings a lot. I just really enjoy the way that she writes and the way that she does descriptions. So back to the Green Rider. Kerrigan is sent with a message, and I'm not going to get into a ton of spoilers for this. I will just say that there's a group of people who are the king's messengers, and they're called Green Riders. And the guy that she has stumbled into and has kind of given her a mission, he is a Green Rider. And so she feels kind of like an attachment to him because he's the one that passed on his information and his belongings to her and was like, you need to take this to the king. This is a very important message that he needs to get. And so we find out who was following him, why he got shot. And in the midst of all this, there's all these supernatural things happening. And so Kerrigan might have a little bit of magic that she didn't know about. And that magic may be enhanced by what she gets from the Green Riders. And she just has to decide, does she want to follow in her father's footsteps, which is what she wanted to do, and become a merchant? Or is she going to join the Green Riders and continue on that path with helping the king and the country and all the kingdom and all that stuff? So you have to read it to find out what happens. But this is a series, and the series is called Green Rider. So if that doesn't give you a hint about which path she's going to choose, I kind of feel like we all already know, but that is what is happening in this book, and I really enjoyed it. I liked getting to meet her. I liked the characters that are around her. We actually get quite a bit of her dad, and I loved him as a character. I just thought he was a great dad, and it was nice to see somebody in a fantasy novel that did not come from a horrible household, right? She is a child, she's a teenager, and so I just liked that her thoughts of her home life were not horrible thoughts like a lot of these fantasy novels, especially ones that lead off with some kind of child that's going on a journey of some kind. It feels like their home life has been really bad or whatever. So I really enjoyed her dad being not a bad guy, not a jerk. And I like that we got to see a lot of him. But we're mostly just focusing on Kerrigan and getting to meet her and who she is and the people at court. So the king and his advisors and the rest of the Green Rider group, or especially the head of the Green Riders and what that looks like and how that all works. And in the middle of this, there's actually a smaller secondary mystery with the guy who gave her all of his stuff as he passed away. So there's a whole mystery about him as well as what's going on everywhere else. So this was just a great book, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a series to get going in, especially if you like young adult fantasy. This is a really great place to start. Anybody could do it. I would say middle grade on up. There's not a lot of themes in here that are going to be too advanced or anything like that for any reader, and so I think it's just a great book. And we have a female protagonist and a female writer, and I really enjoyed it. So if you have a book or a series that features a female protagonist that you think I should read, I would love to hear about it below. Otherwise, see if there's a horse emoji or just a green something, a green heart, a green anything green, or a horse emoji that you can find. Leave for me below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.